What is money? Understand this before you ever think about investing. Most people think money is cash in their wallet, numbers in a bank account, or the paycheck they receive every month. That is how money looks on the surface, but that is not what money really is. Money is not wealth. Money is a tool created to make the exchange of value easier. Before money existed, people traded time for labor, labor for goods, and goods for survival. Money was introduced to simplify that process. It allowed value to move without friction. Here's the truth. Money does not create value. Money only represents value. Real value comes from work, skill, knowledge, products, services, and resources. Money is nothing more than a ticket that allows value to move from one person to another. This is why people who truly understand money never chase it emotionally. They focus on creating value, because money always flows to where value exists. Money has three core functions. First, money is a medium of exchange. It allows trade without matching needs. You do not need the seller to want what you have. Money becomes the universal connector. This is what makes large economies possible. Second, money is a unit of measurement. It measures value. It prices time, businesses, property, and opportunities. Money helps people compare and decide faster. But understand this clearly. Price is not the same as real value. Never confuse the two. Third, money is a store of value. It allows you to store today's effort for the future. But money does not store value perfectly. Inflation slowly destroys purchasing power. This is why saving money alone never makes anyone rich. Now understand the difference between money and assets. This is where most people fail. Money is a tool. Assets create or preserve value over time. Money sitting still does nothing. Assets work for you while you sleep. Smart investors do not hoard money. They convert money into assets. That is how wealth is built. Here is the core message. If you treat money as the goal, you will always feel like it is never enough. If you treat money as a tool, you learn how to control it. Understanding money will not make you rich overnight, but not understanding money will keep you poor for life. If you want to understand money, investing, and how real wealth is built, subscribe to this channel. In the next video, we will talk about why money has value even though it has no value of its own. Why does money have value? A piece of paper cannot feed you. A number in a bank account cannot keep you warm. By itself, money has no intrinsic value. Yet the entire world works for it. Society moves around it. The reason is simple. Money has value because people believe in it. The value of money comes from trust, not from paper, not from ink, not from digital numbers. It comes from a collective agreement that this money can be exchanged for goods, services, time, and human effort. As long as trust exists, money has value. When trust disappears, money becomes worthless. This trust is not accidental. It is built by power, by law, by financial systems, by governments and central banks. A government declares its currency legal tender. Taxes must be paid with it. Debts must be settled with it. That is how trust is enforced. Not because money is strong, but because the system behind it is. History proves one thing. When governments collapse, when laws lose authority, when people lose faith, money loses value. Inflation explodes. Paper money becomes meaningless. Money does not die because it is weak. Money dies because trust dies. This is how fiat money works. Modern money is no longer backed by gold. It is backed by promises. The promise that the government will protect the currency, the promise that the economy will continue to function, the promise that social order will remain. That is why fiat money is powerful and fragile at the same time. Printing money does not create wealth. Printing money only increases quantity. It does not increase value.
When money grows faster than real value, each unit of money loses purchasing power. Inflation is not an accident, it is a consequence. The consequence of broken trust. This is why the wealthy understand money differently. They do not ask how much money exists, they ask how strong trust is. They watch policy, they watch capital flows, they watch central bank behavior, because they understand one thing clearly. Money is a game of trust. The core message is simple. Money has value not because it exists, but because people agree that it does. Whoever controls trust controls money, and whoever does not understand this will always be the one who pays the price. If you want to understand how money truly works and how to protect your wealth from inflation and system risk, subscribe to this channel. In the next video, we will talk about the stages of money development and how money evolved over time.
The stages of money formation and evolution. Money did not appear by accident. It is the result of thousands of years of economic evolution and power struggles. If you want to understand money today, you must understand the path it has taken. Stage 1. Barter. In the early days, money did not exist. People traded directly. You had grain, someone else had meat. An agreement was made, and the trade happened. Simple, but deeply limited. Now imagine a king in that system. He needed to build cities. He needed to feed an army. He needed to wage wars. Barter cannot fund an army. It cannot collect taxes efficiently. It cannot manage an empire. This system worked for villages, but it failed at the level of power. Stage 2. Commodity money. People began to choose items with shared value. Gold, silver, salt, precious metals. These had value because they were scarce, durable, and recognizable. Money at this stage had intrinsic value. But the problem remained. Gold is heavy, hard to transport, hard to divide for taxation. A king could not pay tens of thousands of soldiers with sacks of gold every month. Power was still limited by physical reality. Stage 3. Metal coins and state authority. This is where the state entered. Coins were minted, standardized weight, stamped with royal symbols, not for convenience, but for authority. When the king stamped his seal on a coin, he was declaring, "The value of this coin is guaranteed by my power." Taxes were collected with that coin. Soldiers were paid with that coin. Money became a tool of governance. Stage 4. Paper money. Paper money did not emerge because people demanded it. It emerged because governments needed money. In ancient China, paper money was issued to finance wars. In Europe, banks issued paper claims backed by gold. At first, every note could be exchanged for real metal. But when wars dragged on, when treasuries ran dry, that promise was broken. Paper money allowed governments to spend first and let the people pay later. Stage 5. Fiat money and monetary warfare. When money was detached from gold, monetary power became centralized. Money was no longer a claim on metal, it became a claim on trust and political authority. Modern wars are not fought only with weapons, they are fought with money. Printing currency, inflation, currency devaluation, interest rate manipulation. As described in monetary warfare theory, the nation that controls the monetary system wins without firing a single shot. Stage 6. Digital money and total control. Today, most money does not exist physically. It exists as numbers inside banking systems. With a single command, accounts can be frozen, transactions can be blocked. Power is enforced instantly. Money became invisible,
but control became absolute. Stage 7. Cryptocurrency and resistance. Cryptocurrency did not appear by chance. It was a reaction to centralized monetary power, a reaction to unlimited money printing. Blockchain replaces trust in people with code. No intermediaries, no permission. No one can print more at will. No one has absolute control. This is not just technology. It is a confrontation between centralized power and decentralized systems, between the old order and a new challenge. The core message: money always changes its form, but its purpose remains the same. Money reflects power, trust, and social structure. Those who understand money's evolution understand its future. Those who do not will always be the ones who pay the price. Call to action. If you want to understand money, power, and investing at a deeper level, subscribe to this channel. In the next video, we will talk about how money actually moves inside the economy.
How money really moves through the economy. Most people think money sits still in banks. That is not true. Money never stands still. Money moves. Money is like water. If water does not flow, it becomes stagnant. If money does not move, it loses value. That is inflation. Money does not sleep in a vault. Imagine you keep $1 billion in cash for 10 years. You do not spend it. You do not invest it. 10 years later, the number is still $1 billion, but its real value is gone. The house you wanted to buy today may cost 2 or 3 times more in 10 years. No one stole your money. Its purchasing power was slowly drained. The real power is not how much money you have, but how it flows. Many people believe a country is rich because it prints more money. That is a dangerous misunderstanding. A strong economy is not where money is printed, but where money flows correctly. When money flows into production, education, and technology, growth is real and sustainable. When money flows into speculation, bubbles are born. Even governments need money. Governments are not magical. They are massive organizations. They pay salaries, they build roads, they run systems, and in times of crisis, they must save the economy. When taxes are not enough, they borrow. When borrowing is not enough, they print money. Printing money is like painkillers. It works fast, but long-term use destroys the body. People do not see higher taxes. They pay through rising prices. Central banks control the heartbeat of the economy. Central banks do not produce goods. They control interest rates. Low interest rates mean cheap loans. Businesses expand. People spend. High interest rates mean expensive loans. The economy slows. Inflation is controlled. Every decision has a cost. There is no perfect solution. How commercial banks create money. This is what most people never understand. When you deposit money into a bank, the bank does not keep it locked away. They lend most of it out. Borrowers spend it. The money returns to the system. One original deposit can create multiple layers of new money. That is how money grows faster than real value. That is how asset bubbles are formed. Money follows belief. When people believe in the future, they invest. When people are afraid, they hold cash. During uncertainty, money flows into gold, real estate, and safe assets. During recovery, money flows into stocks and businesses. Money itself is not smart. Human emotion controls it. Inflation is a silent redistribution of wealth. Inflation does not affect everyone equally. Those who hold cash lose quietly. Those who hold assets may benefit. Asset prices rise with inflation. Cash does not. That is why people who understand money move it into assets. The core message: money does not move by itself. It is guided by policy,
by belief, by power. Those who understand money flow move ahead. Those who only look at bank balances will always be behind.
In this world, there are two types of people. There are those who know exactly what they want the moment they step out of bed, and there are those who are simply drifting. Never mistake motion for progress. If you do not have a clear destination, you are merely wasting your time. And in this life, time is the only currency you cannot earn back. Listen closely. A goal is not just a wish written on a piece of paper. It is a magnetic pull. It is the force that commands you to cut out the trivial distractions and focus on the only thing that matters. People ask me how to become successful, but I ask them a different question. Who do you want to become, and what are you willing to trade for it? If the price you set is too low, the destination you reach will be worthless. This is how a man of stature defines his future. First, clarity is power. Do not say you want to be rich. Say you will have $1 million by the age of 35. Numbers do not lie, and numbers do not allow you to be lazy. Second, put it in writing. Whatever stays in your head is an illusion. Whatever is written on paper becomes a command. Once a command is issued, the mind has no choice but to obey. Third, your reason must be massive. Why do you want this? Is it for your family, your legacy, or to make those who doubted you look up in silence? When the why is strong enough, the how will reveal itself. Do not just exist, conquer. This world is not short on resources. It is short on people with the hunger to claim them. Tonight, sit down, turn off the world, and ask yourself a hard truth. In the movie of your life, are you a background extra, or are you the one writing the script? In the shadows of the great game, information is more valuable than gold. Most people spend their lives reacting to the world, but a man of power learns to anticipate it. To win, you must become a perpetual student of reality. If you are not learning, you are dying. And in this market, the ignorant are eaten alive by those who know the truth. There are two ways to gather the intelligence you need. The first is your own experience. Every mistake you make, every wound you suffer, is a lesson paid for in blood and capital. Do not waste that pain. Study it. Analyze why you failed so you never have to pay that price twice. The second way is the shortcut of the elite. Study the experience of others. Why spend decades making your own mistakes when you can buy the blueprints of men who have already conquered the mountain? Read their books, observe their movements, and listen to the silence between their words. A wise man learns from his own errors, but a titan learns from the errors of those who came before him. Invest in your mind with the same cold-blooded discipline you use to invest in your business. Be selective with what you consume. Most of what you hear is noise designed to keep the masses distracted. Ignore the noise. Seek the signals. Knowledge is the only asset that the taxman cannot touch and the market cannot take away. The greatest library in the world is useless if you do not have the eyes to see the patterns. Stay curious, stay observant, and never assume you know enough. The moment you think you are the smartest person in the room is the moment you become the most vulnerable. Go out and find the truth. Tomorrow, we will discuss how to transform that knowledge into the strength to change who you are. For things to change around you, you must change first. Do not pray for the wind to stop blowing. Learn how to adjust your sails. The biggest mistake of failures is expecting new results while clinging to old habits and outdated mindsets. Success is not something you chase blindly. Success is something you attract by the person you become. If you want more, you must become more valuable. The market does not pay for your needs. It pays for the value you bring to the table.
Listen, changing yourself is a painful process. You must be willing to destroy your old, weaker self to allow a stronger man to be born. Do not complain that life is harsh. Train yourself to be harder. When you become exceptional, the obstacles that once crippled you will be nothing more than dust beneath your feet. Do not wait for everything to be perfect to start. Begin changing with the smallest actions, starting today. Discipline is the bridge between an idea and its execution. Without discipline, all your talent is meaningless. Remember this, your destiny is not in the stars. It is in your own two hands and your unwavering commitment to change. For things to change around you, you must change first. Do not pray for the wind to stop blowing. Learn how to adjust your sails. The biggest mistake of failures is expecting new results while clinging to old habits and outdated mindsets. Success is not something you chase blindly. Success is something you attract by the person you become. If you want more, you must become more valuable. The market does not pay for your needs. It pays for the value you bring to the table. Listen, changing yourself is a painful process. You must be willing to destroy your old, weaker self to allow a stronger man to be born. Do not complain that life is harsh. Train yourself to be harder. When you become exceptional, the obstacles that once crippled you will be nothing more than dust beneath your feet. Do not wait for everything to be perfect to start. Begin changing with the smallest actions, starting today. Discipline is the bridge between an idea and its execution. Without discipline, all your talent is meaningless. Remember this, your destiny is not in the stars. It is in your own two hands and your unwavering commitment to change. Money is a magnificent servant, but a ruthless master. Too many people out there spend their entire lives selling their souls for a paycheck, yet never spend a single hour learning how to make that money work for them. That is not labor, that is voluntary slavery. If you do not learn to control your cash flow when it is just a few silver coins, you will never have the character to command a fortune. Never eat your seed corn. This is the supreme law in the world of those at the top. Ordinary people spend first and save what is left. Masters do the opposite. They set aside for the future first and only live on what remains after investing. Remember the golden rule. 10% of your income does not belong to your desires. It belongs to your army. Send those soldiers into the battlefield of investment so they can bring back captives. A single coin saved is not just a coin, it is the seed of an empire. Real wealth is not measured by the numbers on the check you receive each month. It is measured by how long you could live luxuriously if you stopped working tomorrow. Do not let temporary flash deceive you. A man who earns millions but burns it all on vanity is nothing more than a poor man with a high income. Diversify your survival. Never put all your eggs in one basket, and never let a single source of income be your only lifeline. That is not confidence. It is the recklessness of a man on the brink of bankruptcy. The market has no compassion. It devours those who spend recklessly and rewards those who suppress temporary urges to build a lasting legacy. Learning to manage your finances is not about being cheap. It is about becoming truly free. Time is the only asset that even the wealthiest man on earth cannot buy more of, not even for a single second. Do not fall into the illusion that you own time. The truth is, time is consuming you. Every day that passes, a piece of your life is deducted. The only question is, what have you traded those moments for that was actually worth it? Listen closely. There are two types of busyness. One is being busy like an ant running in circles with no purpose. The other is being busy like an architect, laying each brick to build a cathedral. Never let minor things take the place of major ones. A man of stature must master the word no. Say no to hollow entertainment. Say no to people who bleed your time dry. And say no to good opportunities if they stand in the way of greatness. Learn to manage your day before you dream of managing an empire. If you haven't written down your plan for today, you have already signed on to someone else's agenda. Never start a day until it is finished on paper. Distinguish clearly between movement and achievement. Running until you are exhausted does not mean you are moving forward. Time discipline is the highest form of self-respect. When you waste time, you are disrespecting your own life. Work when it is time to work, and play when it is time to play. Do not work halfway while you are relaxing, and never let distraction creep in when you are conquering your goals. Live in such a way that every hour passed is an investment, not a loss. The clock is ticking, and it waits for no one. Not for me, and certainly not for you. You cannot fly with eagles if you keep swimming with ducks in a pond. This is a bitter truth that few dare to face. The people you spend your time with will dictate your destiny. They are either the wind beneath your wings or the anchor tied to your feet, dragging you down into the depths of mediocrity. Look at the 5 people you are closest to. Look at their bank accounts. Look at their mindsets. Look at the hunger in their eyes. That is the mirror of your own future. If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. In this game, the contagion of a weak mind is more dangerous than any virus. Surround yourself with complainers, and you will see a world of injustice. Surround yourself with the lazy, and you will begin to justify your own cowardice. A man of stature must know how to perform a purge of his social circle. It sounds cold, but it is survival. There are people you must cut off entirely. There are people you must limit, and there are people you must move heaven and earth to be near. Seek out those who challenge your thinking, those who make you feel small and force you to grow. Relationships are not for killing time. They are strategic investments. Find mentors and allies who share your hunger for conquest. One piece of advice from a man who has stood on the mountain peak is worth 10,000 words of comfort from those rotting at the base of the hill. Remember, the price of greatness is often a period of solitude until you find your true tribe, the tribe of winners.
You can conquer the world, build an immense financial empire, but if you do not find peace within your soul, if you do not know how to savor your achievements, then all you possess is nothing more than a brilliant failure. Prosperity is not solely about the money in the bank. It is the wealth and experience in relationships and in your state of mind. Never forget your roots. No matter how high you climb, remember those who helped you along the way, the places that shaped who you became. A great man knows not only how to take, but also how to give. Not because it is an obligation, but because it is the only way to feel truly complete. Be generous with your family, with your loyalists, and with the communities that nurtured you. Giving does not diminish you, it enriches your soul. Cherish the quiet moments. In a noisy world where everyone chases fleeting desires, stillness is power. Make time for what truly matters: a good meal with family, a profound book, a moment to watch the sunset. This is not a waste of time. This is an investment in your very soul. Build a legacy not just with money, but with value. After you are gone, the world will remember you for what you left behind, not for what you accumulated. Money will fade, but the ideas, the influence, and the people you touched will endure. That is true, eternal prosperity. Life is not a ceaseless race. Sometimes you must stop, look up, breathe deeply, and truly feel what you have built. That is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom. That is the art of living well, mastering your life, not just your wallet.
Wall Street Masterclass: The Power of Ownership. Listen to me and look in the mirror. It is time to face the cold, hard truth. If your bank account is bleeding red, it is not the fault of the economy. It is not the fault of the government, and it is certainly not because your boss is a jerk. It is entirely your fault. In the world of wealth, there is one ultimate law that separates the wolves from the sheep. Rich people believe, I create my life. The broke and the desperate choose to believe, life happens to me. That is the difference between being the captain of the ship and being the guy locked in the trunk. Do you want to know how to spot a loser with a poverty mindset? They never admit they are victims, but they leave a trail of financial suicide behind them. First, they blame. They are world-class experts at pointing fingers. They blame the market. They blame interest rates. They blame their luck. They blame everyone except the person in the mirror. Second, they justify. They try to act smart by saying, money's not that important. Really? Try telling that to your family when the bills arrive and the lights go out. If you do not value money, money will never find its way to you. Period. Finally, they complain. This is the deadliest sin of all. When you complain, you become a living magnet for every piece of garbage in the world. You are literally inviting disaster into your life. Wake up. Every time you blame, justify, or complain, you are slitting your own financial throat. You are handing the keys to your power over to a stranger. On Wall Street, we do not wait for luck, we build it. When a deal fails, we do not cry. We ask, what did I do wrong? What strategy must I change? That is how you take back control. Wealth is an outcome. It is a result of your mindset. From this moment on, make a vow to yourself. Every time you catch yourself acting like a victim, stop. Remember that you are destroying your own future. Do you want to write the script of your life, or are you satisfied being a nameless extra in someone else's movie? The choice is yours. Stop wasting time and start taking the wheel now.
Wall Street Masterclass, The Power of Intent. Now let us look at how you enter the money game. Most people out there are playing not to lose, but us, we play to win. Let me explain the difference to you. If your goal is security, if your goal is to have just enough to pay the bills and survive the month, then I have bad news for you. You will never be rich. Why? Because if you aim for just enough, you will only get the crumbs falling from the table of the leaders. Rich people do not seek mediocre comfort, we seek massive prosperity. We do not want a slice of the cake, we want to own the bakery, the supply chain, and the entire street the bakery stands on. The power lies in your intention. If you only want enough to feel okay, you are sabotaging your own potential. But if your goal is to be outrageously wealthy, you will naturally achieve comfort as a side effect of your ambition. Do not lie to yourself by saying you do not need much money. That is the cowardly excuse of those who lack the courage to face their own greatness. On Wall Street, if you are not moving forward to claim the throne, you are moving backward to be crushed. Stop playing small. Throw away that enough is enough mindset. It is time to place a bigger bet on yourself. Do you want to be the one picking up coins under the table, or the one who dictates the rules of the game for the rest of the world? Rewrite your goals today. Do not aim for safety, aim for total domination.
Wall Street Masterclass, The Blood Oath of Success. Listen to me carefully. Walk outside and ask anyone struggling on the street if they want to be rich. They will look at you as if you asked the stupidest question on earth. Of course they want it. They dream of luxury travel, magnificent mansions, and absolute freedom. But let me tell you a brutal truth. Wanting is the language of losers. The world does not operate on your prayers or your hollow dreams. The reason most people do not have what they want is that they do not actually know what they want. Their minds are a chaotic mess of mixed signals. On one hand, they say they want wealth. On the other hand, their subconscious whispers that being rich is a sin or that it is too much of a burden. With a broken compass like that, you will never reach the shore. Rich people do not just want, we commit. Do you understand the real meaning of commitment? It is not about how many hours you clock in. It is about how much blood you are willing to pour into that goal. Commitment means you eliminate every exit strategy. You burn the bridges. You smash the lifeboats. In the dictionary of a dominator, there is no such thing as trying. There is only doing or dying. Commitment demands a heavy price. Are you ready to work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week? Are you ready to sacrifice the parties, the extra sleep, and even the understanding of those around you? Most people answer no. They want the reward, but they are terrified of the gallows of discipline. They want the crown, but they cannot stand its weight. There is a supreme law in this universe. It will not grant prosperity to those standing on the sidelines hoping to win. The universe only supports and gives the keys of power to those who bet their entire life and honor on a single objective. If you are not fully, totally, and unconditionally committed to wealth, then poverty will be the ghost that haunts you to your grave. Stop the childish game of wishing. Look me in the eye and answer this. Are you the one watching through the glass window, or are you the one who walks in and buys the entire building? Wealth only chooses those who truly belong to it.
Wall Street Masterclass: The Crime of Thinking Small. Listen to me, come closer, and look at the world map spreading out before you. I want to ask you a question that perhaps no one else is cruel enough to ask. How much are you actually pricing your existence at on this planet? Do not answer me with the numbers on your paycheck. I am talking about the stature of your soul. Most of the crowd out there chooses a pathetic little life. They play cheap games and set goals so safe they make you fall asleep. They try to shrink themselves so that no one notices them. Why? Because they are afraid. They fear failure, and even more ridiculous, they fear success even more than failure. They feel small and unworthy and not big enough to stand in the ranks of giants. But let me tell you a truth. Playing a mediocre character does not help this world in any way. On Wall Street, we operate by an absolute law. Your income is in direct proportion to the value you actually deliver to the marketplace. If you choose to serve only a small group, you will only receive the leftover change. But if you want to own an empire, you must serve tens of thousands or millions or even billions of people. Extreme wealth never finds those who only linger in their small pond. It is only for those who dare to sail into the deep blue ocean, where storms and glory go hand in hand. Thinking big is not just about how much money you want in your pocket. It is about influence. Do you want to be the silent craftsman in the dark, or do you want to be the one setting the standard for an entire global industry? Do you want to write a small news piece that is forgotten after a day, or do you want to build a media network that controls the thoughts of the masses? Do not let petty fears and low self-esteem suppress the monster of ambition inside you. The world is already too crowded with average people. It is starving for kings. It is starving for visionaries who dare to think the unthinkable and have the guts to turn it into reality. And here is the deepest part that few people realize. Thinking small is a selfish way to live. When you choose to stay in the shadows, and when you choose not to use all the talent and gifts the universe has given you, then you are robbing millions of people of the chance to be helped and inspired by you. You owe this world your greatness. So throw your humble plans into the trash right now. Stand up and take a deep breath and look at the furthest destination you can see. If what you are thinking does not make you feel both excited and terrified at the same time, then it is still too small. Remember my words, if you are going to be thinking anyway, you might as well think big. Life is too short to live small.
Wall Street Masterclass: The Master Focus. Opportunity or obstacle. Let me teach you a lesson about vision. When looking at a glass that is half full, the crowd out there is divided into two types. The pessimist sees the empty half and fears the lack. The optimist sees the full half and hopes everything will be fine. But what does a real Godfather see? We see the opportunity to buy the entire glass factory, take over the supply chain, and reprice the market. That is the difference between the one who owns the game and the one who just watches the play. The brutal difference between being rich and being poor lies exactly where you place your eyes. The poor crowd always makes decisions based on a foundation of fear. Their minds are like an obsolete radar, constantly scanning for risks so they can retreat.
They ask themselves, what if I lose money? The market is crashing. The government is changing the rules again. They spend their entire lives preparing for the worst-case scenarios, and in the end, the worst case actually happens. They end up with nothing but a life of standing still. They are so worried about the thorns under their feet that they forget the crown right in front of them. On the contrary, we, the rulers, focus all our energy on opportunity. Do not be mistaken, we are not blind to risks. We know risks exist, but we do not let them paralyze our will. While the cowards are busy calculating how much they might lose, we have already placed the deposit to own the game. Rich people see the reward, they see growth, and they see the possibility of absolute victory. We do not look at the problem, we look at the solution and the price tag attached to it. There is a law on Wall Street that is as spiritual as it is practical. Whatever you focus on expands. If you look everywhere and see obstacles, then congratulations, your entire world will turn into a prison of difficulties. But if you train your eyes to see a gold mine in the heart of hell, you will see money and luck flowing toward you like destiny. Losers always wait until there is a 100% guarantee before they dare to move. But listen closely. There are no guarantees in this world, except that you will certainly be poor if you do not dare to act. Rich people act the moment they see a gap of opportunity, and they adjust their sails when the storm hits. They do not stand on the shore praying for the storm to pass. They turn the power of the storm into the momentum to charge forward faster. Stop listing the reasons why you will fail. Start looking at the market and ask yourself, what is the crowd afraid of, and how much can I make from their fear? The crowd sees a pit. We see a gold mine. The crowd sees an end. We see a new beginning. Change your focus today, or accept being the outsider watching us collect the entire world into our pockets.
Subscribe and follow the channel for daily self-improvement and valuable knowledge. Wall Street Masterclass, The Blessing from the Top, Admire to Conquer. Listen to me. I want you to observe a familiar scene on the busiest streets of New York. When a polished Rolls-Royce glides by or a $1 million yacht docks at the pier, look at the eyes of the crowd standing on the sidewalk. What do you see? A smoldering fire of resentment? The poor will spit on the ground. They will curl their lips and mutter that it is just another group of arrogant rich people, and they must have done something crooked to get that money. That is the exact moment they slam the door to their own wealth. They do not understand a supreme law of the universe. You can never become what you hate. If you view prosperity as a crime, your subconscious will do everything to keep you in the mud of poverty just so you can stay pure. What a pathetic kind of holiness. The difference between a mediocre worker and a godfather lies in how we treat the success of others. The poor nurture envy like a poisonous snake in their heart. They feel insulted when they see someone owning what they crave but do not have. They believe money is a finite pie, where someone taking a large slice means they lose out. That hatred does not make the rich man's pocket any lighter. It only rots your own soul. It is like drinking poison and waiting for your rival to die. It is pure stupidity. But us, the masters of the game, see the world with the eyes of wise predators. When we see an empire being built, we do not look at it with cheap envy. We look at it with absolute admiration. We bless that prosperity. Why? Because when you bless the success of others, you are sending a powerful signal to the universe that you appreciate this value, you love this wealth, and you are ready to own it. We do not stand there to judge, we stand there to study. We ask ourselves, what strategy did they use to dominate? How sharp was their vision? How can I learn and surpass that greatness? Rich people admire successful people because we understand the brutal price they paid. We see the iron discipline, the sleepless nights in the office, and the loneliness of the leader behind those billion-dollar figures. If you want to step into the ranks of the powerful, you must learn to love them first. Find where they live, observe how they think, and celebrate their victories as if they were your own. Never be the outsider casting bitter words.
Be the person standing in the winner's circle, sharing the glory. Remember this well. You can only achieve what you truly admire. Bless what you want to have, and one day the world will have to bless you. Wall Street Masterclass, The Power Circle Strategy, Alliance or Doom. Sit down and look at your phone contacts. I will tell you exactly where your future lies. There is a brutal truth you must face. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you want to fly with eagles, do not waste your time swimming with ducks. If you want to own Wall Street, do not waste your life gossiping with people who only moan about their fate in cheap coffee shops. The failing crowd has a powerful magnetism, but it is the magnetism of collapse. They love to gather to complain together, to blame the economy, to blame the government, and to nurture negativity. That negativity is like an invisible virus. It spreads through their breath, through their eyes, and through their discouraging words. If you stay around people who only see risks and difficulties, your own eyes will eventually be clouded by the fog of cowardice. You will start to believe that this world is an unfair place and that success is a luxury not meant for you. On the contrary, rich people see the world through the lens of power alliances. We do not just socialize for fun, we build winning ecosystems. We seek out minds sharper than ours, people with visions so far-reaching they make others tremble, and those who dare to bet their entire lives on giant games. Why? Because the energy of success is a powerful radiation. When you sit in a room full of masters, the conversation is no longer about how to make enough money to pay the bills. It is about how to take over the market and multiply wealth 100 times over. Never feel small when approaching people who are better than you. Consider it a privilege, a $1 million masterclass to breathe the same air as the dominators. Rich people understand that associating with successful people is the fastest way to hack into their mindset. You do not just learn strategy, you learn their aura, how they smile in the face of a storm, and how they make decisions in the blink of an eye. Look at the people around you right now. Are they fueling your ambition, or are they throwing cold water on your dreams every day? If they only bring you negativity, have the courage to strike their names from your life. Do not fear loneliness. The mountain peak is very narrow. It is only for those with the strength to leave behind mediocre burdens. Remember my words. Your network is your true net worth. Choose the people who bring light to your vision and establish a new order for your own world together with them.
The echo of power. Do not be a buried secret. Listen to me. You could be the most brilliant genius to ever step foot on Wall Street. You could own a product that changes the very fabric of humanity. But if you just sit there in the dark waiting for the world to find you, you will die poor and pathetically forgotten. In this world, the one who commands attention is the one who commands power. The mediocre crowd has a twisted view of promotion. They think selling, marketing, or building a name is cheap, arrogant, and dishonest. They would rather suffer in poverty than speak up to introduce themselves. But let me tell you the brutal truth. If you truly believe that what you have brings real value to life, then keeping it a secret is a crime against the people who need it. Rich people do not just create value. We are masters at broadcasting that value. We do not stand in the corner of the room waiting for a handout of attention. We build our own stage. We turn on the brightest lights, and we boldly declare to the world exactly what we can do. Promotion is not hollow bragging. It is passion. It is an absolute faith in the solution you provide. When you have ironclad belief in your own value, your words carry the weight of diamonds. People will have no choice but to listen. Look at the most powerful empires and the billionaires running the world. They spend billions of dollars every year just to make sure their name never fades from the mind of the crowd. They understand that attention is the new currency, and they will do whatever it takes to own it.
If you still feel shy about talking about your success, if you find it hard to sell your own ideas, then you are building a wall between yourself and wealth. The rich promote themselves with heat and the highest level of self-respect. They see it as a noble mission to deliver value. Do not ever let yourself be a secret buried at the bottom of the ocean. Be an icon celebrated in the sun. Stand up, look the crowd in the eye, and show them who you are and how you can change their lives. If you do not promote yourself, do not ever expect anyone else to do it for you. Remember this, value only becomes an asset when it's recognized and appraised by the world. The stature of a winner. Do not let problems swallow your vision. Listen, the secret to wealth is not about avoiding trouble or running away from your problems. If you spend your life praying for a life without difficulties, you are praying to become a mediocre and weak person. The brutal truth on Wall Street is this: problems never disappear. They only grow larger as you become more successful. The only difference between a loser and a godfather is their stature in relation to that problem. The crowd out there often lets themselves be swallowed by petty troubles. They hit a financial snag, a workplace incident, or a bit of criticism, and their whole world collapses. They whine, they play the victim, and waste all their energy explaining why they cannot move forward. They become small, and the shadow of the problem engulfs their entire life. But for us, the masters of the game, problems are nothing more than tests of character. Rich people always stand taller than their problems. We do not look at a struggle and ask, why is this happening to me? We ask, how do I get over it? If you're facing a level 5 problem and you are only a level 2 person, that problem will look like a massive mountain. But if you train yourself to be a level 10 person, then that level 5 problem is nothing more than a grain of sand under your shoe. We do not focus on the problem, we focus on the goal. When a storm hits, the coward looks for cover, but we, the leaders, learn to steer the sails and use the wind to go faster. You cannot control what the world throws at you, but you can control how big you grow to face it. Do not ever expect problems to get smaller. Demand of yourself that you grow larger. A true godfather never lets a $1 million problem ruin his dinner simply because his stature surpassed that number a long time ago. Stand tall, raise your thinking, and look down at your difficulties. When you stand high enough, you will see that all troubles are just ants under your feet. Remember this: the stature of your wealth will never exceed the stature of the man you become. Subscribe and follow the channel for daily self-improvement and valuable knowledge. The ultimate art of receiving. When the universe seeks to bestow prosperity, ensure you are first in line. Look at me. I have spent decades in Manhattan watching men rise to the heavens and fall to the gutters. I have seen guys grinding 100 hours a week, yet their bank accounts remain stagnant. Why? It is not for a lack of knowledge. It is because they are infected with the deadliest psychological virus known to man, the unworthiness complex. The masses out there are programmed to be givers who feel a gut-wrenching guilt when it is time to receive. They have been fed hypocritical moral lessons since they were in diapers. It is better to give than to receive. Stay humble. Do not be greedy. Let me tell you a bitter truth. That brand of humility is the grave where your wealth is buried. If you do not feel worthy, you are building a steel vault between yourself and the flow of capital. When someone tries to hand you an opportunity, a gift, or even a simple compliment, and you shrug it off or turn it away, you are screaming at the universe, "Do not give me anything. I am not worth the trouble." And guess what? The universe is a damn good listener. It will stop knocking at your door. It will take those treasures and deliver them to your neighbor's house, the guy who is standing there with open arms and an ironclad ego that tells him he deserves every single cent. The mathematics of prosperity: giving and receiving.
You have to understand that this is a two-sided game. You cannot have a giver without a receiver, and you cannot have a receiver without a giver. If you insist on being the one who only gives but refuses to take, you are sabotaging the entire global economic machine. Imagine a river. If you build a dam across the flow just because you think, I do not need this much water, the water will either stagnate and rot, or it will eventually smash through your dam to find land that actually wants it. The rich are world-class receivers. We do not sit around overanalyzing whether we have been good enough to deserve a payout. We understand a simple law. If I have created value, I have the right and the responsibility to collect the reward. Never argue with fortune. When money finds you, do not ask, why me? Smile, open your pockets wide and say, thank you, bring more. Upgrading the psychological container. Every man has a financial container in his subconscious. If your container only has the capacity of a teacup, then even if I pour an entire ocean of wealth into it, you will only keep a few drops. The rest will overflow and vanish through stupid expenses or catastrophic investments. The poor have containers cracked by self-doubt. They tremble at the sight of big numbers. They panic when hit with a stroke of luck. To be a financial godfather, you must train your container to be a bottomless well. You must become comfortable with abundance. You must believe that owning millions is as natural and inevitable as breathing the air around you. How do you expand this container? Accept compliments like cash. From now on, when someone praises you, you do not say, "Oh, it was nothing," or "I just got lucky." You look them in the eye and say, "Thank you." That is your first step in affirming your own value. Celebrate every cent. Whether you find $1 on the sidewalk or sign a billion-dollar merger, celebrate it. Show your subconscious that you are a master receiver and that you love it when money finds its way home to you. Indulge like the elite. At least once a month, take a portion of your capital and do something that makes you feel genuinely wealthy. Dine at the most exclusive restaurant, book a luxury car. Let your body and mind memorize the frequency of wealth. Once you get a taste for the best, you'll never settle for being average again. The ruler's strategy: receive to dominate. In the boardrooms of Wall Street, the man who is afraid to take an advantage is the man who gets eaten alive. I never turn down a privilege. If a partner wants to host me at a lavish dinner, I accept. If the universe drops $1 million idea into my lap, I seize it instantly. I do not stand there playing the role of the humble martyr. You must understand that your willingness to receive does not just enrich you, it grants others the opportunity to give. When you refuse a gift, you are stripping the giver of their joy. You are making them the loser in the transaction. Do not do that. Be a receiver who is both gracious and powerful. If the universe wants to pour money into someone's pocket, let it be yours. Why not you? You have the talent, you have the ambition, and you are willing to do what is necessary. There is no reason on earth you should stand behind the lazy and the cowardly. The manifesto of prosperity. Every morning before you step out to take what is yours, look in the mirror and remind yourself, I am an excellent receiver. I am ready and willing to receive massive amounts of money into my life. I deserve wealth because I add value to this world. The world is not lacking in capital, and I am the primary destination for that flow. Do not let the broke masses teach you how to live. They will tell you that money is not important. That is a lie told by people who can't make any. Money is freedom, money is power. Money is the tool you use to protect the people you love. And to get it, the first move is knowing how to open up and receive. The Godfather's final word. The world is a massive buffet, but only those who hold out a plate get fed. Do not stand in the corner waiting for someone to bring you a scrap while you claim you are not hungry. Step into the center of the room, grab the biggest plate you can find, and receive everything you are entitled to. Remember, you can only hold what you are willing to receive. The steady paycheck scam. Do not sell your life by the hour. Price yourself by the victory. Listen to me.
I want you to look at your paycheck or that number that hits your bank account every month. What do you see? Peace of mind? Security? What I see is a handcuff, a golden handcuff crafted so finely that you don't feel the sting, but it is a handcuff nonetheless. On Wall Street, we call those who worship a steady salary voluntary slaves. Why? Because when you accept to be paid for your time, you are making the worst trade of your life. You are selling your most precious, non-renewable asset, time, in exchange for scraps of paper called a salary. The mistake of the masses is that they seek stability. But in the world of Godfathers, stability is just another word for stagnation. If your income is based on the number of hours you sit in an office, you have placed a ceiling right above your head. You only have 24 hours in a day, and even if you work yourself to death, your income is forever capped by that damn clock. The rich never play that game. We don't sell time, we sell results. Why the poor choose time? The answer lies in fear. The poor need a guarantee. They fear that without a fixed salary, they won't be able to pay the rent or the bills. They don't believe in their own ability to create value. They need a boss to take responsibility for their lives and hand out breadcrumbs at the end of the month. They say, "I worked so hard, I deserve to be paid." I respond, "I don't care how hard you worked. I only care what you brought to the table." This world doesn't run on effort alone. If you spend 10 hours digging a hole just to fill it back up again, you've worked incredibly hard, but the value you created is zero. So why should I pay you? The poor fear risk, so they choose low but certain income. But that certainty is exactly what prevents them from touching real prosperity. They have traded $1 million potential for the safety of a few $1,000. That is a losing trade. The winner's philosophy: pricing by value. The rich understand this. To be truly wealthy, you must remove the income ceiling, and the only way to do that is to demand to be paid based on results. Look at the top athletes, the movie stars, or the notorious stockbrokers. Do you think they get paid by the hour? Never. They get paid based on performance. If a player scores the winning goal, he gets a massive bonus. If a broker closes a billion-dollar merger, he takes 1% or 5% commission. 1% of $1 billion is $10 million. He might have spent only 30 minutes on the phone to do it. That is the power of results. In those 30 minutes, he earned what a salaried worker takes a lifetime to accumulate. The rich want a piece of the action. We work for profits, for equity, for commissions. We accept the risk. If there are no results, there's no money. But if we win big. We believe in our competence. We know that the value we create cannot be measured by the rotations of a clock. Smashing the employee ego. To enter our world, you must train a mindset that is ruthless with yourself. You must stop asking, "How much will I get?" and start asking, "How much will I create?" There is a classic Wall Street story. A massive generator at a major corporation broke down. No one could fix it. They called in an old expert. The old man looked at the machine for 10 minutes, took a small hammer, and tapped a specific valve. The machine roared back to life. He sent an invoice for $10,000. The CEO screamed, "What? You only spent 10 minutes and a hammer tap?" The old man calmly rewrote the invoice. One hammer tap, $1. Knowing where to tap, $9,999. That is the results-based mindset. You don't pay for the old man's time, you pay for the result he delivered, restarting a multi-million-dollar plant. If you are still thinking, "Boss, I stayed at the office until 10 p.m., you have to give me a raise," then you still have the soul of a poor man. Switch to, "Boss, I brought in 3 new contracts worth $5 million. I want 10% of that." Strategies for financial freedom. You cannot become wealthy if your income is directly tied to the time you spend. You must find a way to decouple them. Accept risk for potential. If you're employed, propose a commission or performance-based bonus structure. Tell your boss, "I don't need a raise in my base salary, but give me a percentage of what I bring in." If you're good enough, you'll get rich fast.
If you don't dare, it proves you're just mediocre. Own the system. The rich own businesses. In those businesses, they hire others to sell their time to them. They don't collect a salary, they collect profit. Profits can double or triple while their time spent remains the same. Use leverage. Learn to use other people's money, other people's time, and other people's intelligence to create results for yourself. Never set a limit for yourself. Once you step out of the shadow of hourly pay, you'll see an ocean of opportunity. You can make money even while you sleep because the results you created earlier are still generating returns. The Godfather's Manifesto. Every morning, stand in front of the mirror, look that guy in the eye, and say, "I do not sell my life to anyone. I do not trade my time for pocket change. I choose to be paid based on the victories I achieve. My value is infinite, and so is my income." Do not fear the absence of a steady paycheck. That fear is the chain that keeps you poor. Fear wasting your entire life enriching others while accepting scraps. The world owes you nothing, but it is ready to surrender everything to those who have the guts to prove their value through real results. Be the driver, be the one who sets the price, and be the winner.
Subscribe and follow the channel for daily self-improvement and valuable knowledge.